How's it going, everyone? Want to give you guys a PlayStation Plus update as the essential games are rolling out right now. Looks like we got hints about another game heading to PlayStation Plus. We'll talk about that. PlayStation Plus monthly games for October are rolling out right now, and this is one of the, I want to say, better months of the year. I think this month is pretty good, you guys. I get it that PlayStation Plus is always going to be a little bit divisive, and in this instance, I saw a lot of people saying that they ended up buying the Dead Space remake right before the October lineup got revealed, but, you know, you can't really do anything about that. It is what it is, but right now, rolling out WWE 2K24, Dead Space Remake, and Doki Doki Literature Club. Dead Space Remake really goes with the survival horror theme, and I believe Doki Doki Literature Club does as well. Yeah, I know that game is more than meets the eye from what I've heard. It's not a game that I've spent a lot of time with, but yeah, there's more than meets the eye, and you know, let's just leave it at that for those of you that want to be a little bit surprised by that. WWE 2K24, like, bro, I feel like the WWE games have made a bit of a comeback. I hate how they bake in, like, the trading card gimmick to, like, every sports game, and it's, I think saying the term predatory, you know, some of you guys are going to be like, that's a little bit too big of a stretch, but I do believe that the trading card crap is a little bit predatory, but mechanically, after the atrocity that was WWE 2K20, I feel like 2K24 makes a comeback. And also, with, like, the wrestling games, I do feel like you can enjoy them even as a non-fan, like doing, like, ladder matches and Hell in a Cell matches and all this nonsense. I feel like anybody can jump in and kind of play wrestling games as a fighting game and still have a pretty good time with it. The AEW game was actually on Plus back in June, and I actually think, like, mechanically, that game isn't terrible, but it just doesn't have any content, and, you know, it was $60, and let's just be real. It's, like, a really, really low-budget game, although I've heard that it actually had a significant budget attached to it, but it comes across like a low-budget game if you get what I'm saying. The issue with the wrestling games also is you've got a lot of DLC content rolling out, and every year you gotta buy the DLC. They do new DLC packs and everything like that. Like, it's kind of annoying how they roll out the content, but it is what it is. I doubt any of you guys are really buying the DLC. Play the base game. There's a story mode in it as well. There's two different campaigns, one for a created male wrestler, one for a created female wrestler. Then you've got a lot of stuff you can do in, like, the universe mode. And again, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you can have some decent playtime with that as well and just mess around and do, like, ladder matches and all that nonsense. Dead Space Remake, obviously, I think it's a really, really solid remake. Dead Space was such a great game back in 2008. I played it when it initially came out, and the remake is really good. Expands it a little bit, and man, visually, it just looks fantastic. Massive, I thought, did a great job with this remake, and unfortunately, I guess they weren't rewarded handsomely enough from a commercial standpoint, but these days, man, Star Wars Outlaws sold 1 million copies, and I don't know how Dead Space Remake did, but I would have to imagine it did better than Star Wars Outlaws. It's, like, wild to see. You know, Final Fantasy 16, disappointment at 3 million copies sold. Star Wars Outlaws absolutely bombs at 1 million copies sold. And I understand why Outlaws bombed. 1 million copies with the Star Wars IP is actually really, really bad, and I don't think... I just believe there's some people not comprehending how big of a failure that is. Dead Space, on the other hand, it's not a... You know, it's not an IP like a Star Wars. It's not a gigantic IP. Even when it was released back in 2008, it's not like it took the world by absolute storm. But man, I just feel like there's so much more legs to Dead Space as an IP. And it's unfortunate that it's getting a little bit of the short end of the stick. And now Massive is shifting to doing Marvel games, which I don't have a problem with that in the sense that, you know, I get it. Like, you're going to go towards where the money is. But Marvel games are expensive to develop. And on top of that, let's see how they do, but I'm not fully convinced that that's gonna be a slam dunk home run either, but whatever, it is what it is. We're not gonna get a Dead Space 2 remake anytime soon, so that's a little bit of a bummer. And then, again, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, you know, that's there as well. Let me also say, Dead Space Remake is available through EA Access, so that is a little bit of a bummer. As far as redundancy in the subscription services, that's always not great, but a lot of you guys aren't subscribed to EA Access, or you signed up for a month for 99 cents and then you unsubscribe. Well, now you can add it to your library and quote-unquote own it. I mean, the term owning games is very much stretched thin these days, and I think that was kind of exposed yesterday with the PlayStation Network outage, but you know, your mileage may vary as far as how you assess that. But as far as the October Halloween theme goes, good to see Dead Space Remake and Doki Doki Literature Club. And, you know, you got a different kind of experience with all three of these games. You got a wrestling game, a survival horror action game, and Doki Doki Literature Club. Like, versatility as far as that's concerned. All right, moving on from that, I do also want to note Forbidden Siren has gotten a ratings board listing, and this is probably pointing towards the game getting added to PlayStation Plus Premium. This is Siren 2, by the way, Forbidden Siren 2. This never got a release stateside. However, it got a release in Australia and Europe, so localization is done. They could port this and bring it over stateside for the first time. A lot of rumblings around Siren that there is potentially a brand new Siren game in development as well. I do find it interesting that Siren was rated, and now Forbidden Siren 2 as well. I feel like there's got to be a little bit of truth to the reports that are out there, and look, I don't have a affinity towards Siren. Again, I've said it before. My exposure to horror games really started with Resident Evil 4, which is, again, the casual of casual takes. Like, if you're starting your horror gaming experience with Resident Evil 4, are you really even playing horror games? Like, Resident Evil 4, I don't know if everybody would consider it a horror game, but it does go more of the action-y route for Resident Evil. But I digress. It's never been a genre I've gravitated towards, but I do know Siren has a history to it. It has a lineage to it. And what is one area that PlayStation isn't, you know, they don't really have a premier IP in? It is the horror genre. While it's not my genre of choice, I understand you'd be foolish not to have a premier horror franchise. Microsoft is gonna get that with whatever OD is by Kojima whenever that comes out. It would be good for Sony to diversify their portfolio a little bit. You know, I'm okay with a little bit of live service. I'm just not crazy about all going live service, but in terms of horror, that is one genre that they don't have a huge impact in, and they don't have a lot of IPs. Now, Siren, again, this is a PlayStation published IP. This is an IP they have in their back pocket, so getting people refamiliarized with it, adding Siren 2 to Plus, and Siren 1 is already available on Plus, but it got listed for, you know, I believe a PlayStation 5 release, and using some of the emulation benefits that happens. I don't know exactly what's going on, but given both of these have been listed, that's very interesting, and it is going to be really interesting to see if they decide to delve back into Siren and release that and try to bring that back as an IP and a cornerstone of PlayStation. Maybe not a cornerstone, it's rumored to be done by Firesprite. An IP that's different from a lot of the other projects that they put out and that they can lean on a little bit. I think that makes all the sense in the world, and that's the type of diversifying in their portfolio that I think makes a lot of sense for Sony. A horror IP, getting that in the PlayStation portfolio, again, that's great, and that's something I think will end up paying dividends, especially if they can elevate Siren as an IP and get it to where it's even more popular. You know, leaning on the fact that it's a pre-existing IP, but on top of that, PlayStation is viewed in a different way. I know first party, I'm down on it, but it's still first party, and that would be pretty exciting as far as a PlayStation exclusive release. But that's gonna do it for me. Again, PlayStation Plus October monthly titles rolling out: WWE 2K24, Dead Space Remake, Doki Doki Literature Club. I think a great month, all things considered, with a lot of variety. And Siren 2. Siren already available on Plus Premium. Siren 2 might be on the way, and that never got a stateside release, so that'd be pretty exciting. That'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.